All right, let's see what Sabine has to say about Amazon's quantum breakthrough that everyone missed. What is the quantum breakthrough?
Headlines about the supposed breakthrough with Microsoft's quantum computer.
Right,
It's made so much noise, no one noticed that a much more remarkable quantum computing breakthrough happened at the same time.
really?
It came from Amazon.
Did it?
They unveiled a quantum chip that's
Uh huh.
one of the hottest candidates for getting
Use scalable architecture for reducing error correction up to 90% and accelerating the development of real world quantum computing applications. Is it not based on the same surface code architecture
to
as
commercially
Google?
relevant quantum computers.
Uh
Oh,
huh.
yeah. Quantum computers work by the strange rules of quantum physics, which allows them to solve certain
Right.
problems much faster than conventional
Okay,
computers could.
just
There are
get to
many
it.
commercially relevant areas where that could make a big impact,
Yes,
from material
okay.
science to finance and
You don't
cryptography.
need to do
The
this
promise is real,
anymore.
and we do have functioning quantum
Can you
computers
just move
already. The
on?
trouble is, they're
We
small.
don't
We
need
usually measure
this.
the size of quantum
Right,
computers by the number of qubits that are the quantum bits, their
right.
operational units. The trouble with qubits is that their quantum properties are extremely
Right.
susceptible to noise. Any
Yes, they
tiny
are.
wiggle or cosmic ray or your
Uh-huh.
neighbor's cat sneezing throws
Right.
them off. This means one
Yes.
needs a method of error correction. Error
Okay.
correction requires redundancies, and that means more
Right.
qubits.
More
Estimates say we'd
qubits.
need
Yep.
something like 1,000,000 qubits for commercially relevant quantum computers.
Yes.
Currently, we're at a few hundred. So, four
Right.
zeros left to go, and at the moment, no one really knows how to scale quantum computers up to a useful size. No one
Right.
except, it seems, P. Chadbolt, Chief Scientific Officer of the Quantum Computing
Well, unless you watch the whole D-Wave thing, in which with quantum annealing, they can do useful stuff.
firm Quantum, because he recently said in an interview with Reuters that right now they are producing millions of chips for quantum computers. Wait, what? Quantum works
Right.
with photons as quantum bits, and they've put forward a plan for scaling up their platform. But the major challenge for this method is what a plan for scaling.
So heralded photon source. So psi photon essentially is just qubit measurement, polarization path, fusion measurements. Essentially using linear optics. So if you use linear optics, you can get very good results, but the losses are phenomenal. The more you scale, the more lossy. It's exponentially lossy. So unless you can make a beam splitter with only one output port or something like that, like it just really it's or yeah, it's just yeah.
Scaling up their platform. But a major challenge for this method is that the
Mm-hmm.
photons leak from the chips and one can't calculate with what isn't there. So, well, personally, I'm somewhat surprised that a company would start mass production before having presented a single prototype, but maybe I'm old-fashioned. In any
Right,
case,
that's
so
sort of
no
weird,
one
yeah.
knows how to scale up quantum computers except for this one guy with his factory, allegedly. The Microsoft announcement, if you remember, was also at the core of it about scaling up. They said they have these topological states which aren't so susceptible to noise, meaning
They
they'd
have a
scale much better.
demonstration.
However, critics have said that
Right.
Microsoft's qubits aren't so much topological as they are hypothetical. By the
Right.
way, a little bird has told me that there'll be another Microsoft paper coming up shortly, so we'll
Uh-huh.
almost certainly talk about this again soon. The recent
Okay.
Amazon development now is addressing the same issue as Microsoft, but in a
Right.
far less speculative way. They use
Okay.
superconducting circuits. That's the currently
Right.
most pursued avenue to quantum computing, which is also
Right.
used by Google and IBM. The news is
Uh-huh.
now that Amazon has unveiled their first quantum computing chip named
Right.
Ocelot. I had to look this up in a
Okay.
dictionary, so let me add that an ocelot is a type of wild cat. That'll make sense if I tell you
Cool.
that they use what's called cat qubits. Sounds like cat food, I know, but cat qubits
You're
are
right.
really smart idea. They're combinations of qubits that suppress a certain type of error called a flip error. The basic
Oh,
idea is
right,
that by
okay.
coupling several qubits together, if one of them accidentally flips,
Right.
then another one automatically corrects this. Their Ocelot
Right,
chip
right.
combines 5 of these cat qubits to one computational qubit, which then has a far lower error rate. They say that these
Right.
cat qubits are scalable architecture for reducing error correction by up to 90%. 90%! You
Right.
see why I think this is such a big deal. That'd mean we're not 4 zeros away, but just 3. If they can get it to scale, they're suddenly far ahead of everybody else. Everybody else except for this one guy with his millions of qubits, allegedly. But let me
Right.
put this into context. This doesn't mean we'll have quantum computers tomorrow. Amazon's cat qubits still need to be cooled to some millikelvin, and they still need too many of those to put them into one cooling device, which brings the
Right.
problem of having to connect multiple of these devices. This is why I actually do think that photonic computing or neutral atoms have an advantage just because the qubits are smaller. Personally, I
Right.
suspect that Amazon is already using quantum computers to optimize their delivery chain, because as of recently, our delivery man has started to just throw the package into the staircase. And once they've sorted out quantum computing, maybe Amazon can make their return policy make sense. Science isn't just interesting, it's also a great inspiration. That's why I'm always looking for new science stories. My go-to place for this is Nautilus magazine. Nautilus has a digital and a print
Okay.
version.
Interesting. Yeah, cat qubits. I read about that. That's right. Um, uh, how much did they demonstrate I didn't see any demonstrations online, but I'll look it up. Yeah, they did announce that. That is true. That is true.